Hello and welcome to Deep Thoughts, Shallow Plots.
My name is Erika, and I really like to watch horror movies.
My name is Katy, and I really like to overanalyze things.
Katy, what are we overanalyzing today?
Frankenstein. I don't know what else to say. It's fucking Frankenstein.
It's the
1931 original movie Frankenstein.
The James Whale Universal 1931 classic, Mary
Wollstonecraft Shelley, not Mrs. Percy B. Shelley.
Her literary classic. And I think that you and I decided that we're just immediately, before we jump into anything about this film, that we are Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley stans.
Yes! Goth Queen, Mary Shelley.
We put respect on that name.
Yes.
And we understand and recognize that she invented the genre of science fiction.
Yeah.
And I think that's our thesis. And I think we're gonna
yeah.
Even though I think it's been proven.
Yeah, I mean everybody knows this.
We're gonna
Well, I mean there's some proto sci-fi and there's some blah blah blah.
There's always some proto.
Yeah. And honestly, if you go back to the protoist of proto sci-fi, that was still a woman, so
deal.
Check.
So
by which I mean the Blazing World, if anybody wants to fact check me.
We're here for it.
Yeah.
And
and it's so rude in this movie that they say that it's from the novel by Mrs. Percy B. Shelley.
Yes.
Because I think that is interesting in the context that for a really long time, well, first when it was originally put out into the world in 1818, it was anonymous.
Yes.
Which a lot of women did.
A lot of women did.
They used pen names or they said anonymous. And people right away were like, there were some hints, there were some clues, where people were kind of narrowing it down. And they were like, I think Shelley wrote this. Percy
the
Shelley.
Yeah.
So, and even then, for a really long time, he was considered, because he edited her work.
Yeah.
Which, there are so many male writers in history whose wives have
Are
been editors
editors,
of their
yes.
work, and those wives do not get the credit that Percy does, just saying. But even into the modern era, people have been like, well, Percy was basically, he did so much, he's basically a collaborator of the story, he basically, or even some people are like, Lord Byron really had something to do with it.
Okay.
Fuck Lord.
So, yeah. Let's save that for Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I have a lot of
We have a
Byron
lot
feelings.
to say about the whole thing. But no, just in general, people really struggle to believe that Mary herself could have written Frankenstein.
Of course,
And even if she did write it, that the ideas were hers rather than just she was just a conduit for the ideas that her husband and the people around him were talking about. And she just wrote them down, despite the fact that so much of it is very much coming from a woman, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
it's just
It's hard because I don't know if this really matters in the time, but wasn't she 19 years old?
She was, she was a teenage.
Pretty young.
But
just
that's forgetting the fact that teenage girls are capable of everything. Excuse me.
Follow your dreams.
Tell the teenage girls out there listening.
My song for
You're
adolescent
capable
girls.
of everything.
Anyway.
It's also just ignoring the fact that Mary Shelley herself was the daughter of two prominent writers and was a writer from when she was a kid,
And
just scribbling as she called it.
Enlightenment era thinking.
Yeah, she her mother was a proto-feminist, wrote The Vindication of the Rights of Women. Mary Wollstonecraft.
Say that again.
The Vindication of the Rights of Women.
Thank you.
Fucking badass.
Slower, yeah.
Love Mary Wollstonecraft. Her dad, William Godwin, was also kind of known for having his own quote-unquote school of literature, which is part of the reason why people thought it was Percy Shelley, because when they read Frankenstein, they were like, I'm getting a lot of Godwin from this. And Percy was a student, quote-unquote, a mentee.
Yeah. Small world.
Yeah. That's how he met
Of
Mary.
course. Yeah.
So, but it's all that is true of Mary Shelley.
Yeah,
too. So of course she could have written it.
She didn't need to get ready. She stayed
She
ready.
she was born ready.
Yes.
So anyway, just respect on Mary. We
Yeah.
all love her. She's our goth queen.
So what I love about this movie is that we immediately know it is a horror movie because the opening scene takes place in a graveyard at night.
Yes. Does not fuck up right.
That's 1931.
Yeah. They were like, you know
Horror
what? That
movie.
Dracula horror thing, that went really well for us.
Yeah.
Let's do that again. Oh, I do have one
Yeah.
general question about this movie, though, which
okay.
is, where the fuck is it supposed to take place?
Oh, yeah. Where is it supposed to take
Everybody
place?
is so British in this movie.
So British.
Which makes no sense because, well, first off, why aren't they just American? Like, they're like very British.
Yeah,
they're not even American.
They're speaking with like the accent of someone who's very highly educated.
Yeah, I guess it's just that they're just supposed to be upper crust.
Well, which they are.
But at the same time, they're like Herr Waldman and Fraulein and there's a burgomaster. And it's
Baron Frankenstein.
It's also Germanic.
So Germanic. Well, because where was Mary Shelley when she wrote
She was in Geneva.
She was in Geneva.
She was by the Swiss
Switzerland.
Alps.
Okay, yeah.
Mount Blanc, is that one of the Swiss Alps? I think something like that.
Sure.
I'm
not
a famous
familiar with the Alps, but
yeah.
So okay, great. So she's near Geneva, and is that where the book takes place?
Yeah.
Okay.
The very first line of, well, not of the novel because it opens with a frame story, but of Victor Frankenstein telling his story is him saying that he's Genovese or Genevan or Genovese?
Sure.
However you say it.
Totally.
He's from Geneva. God damn it.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah. That's like how he identifies, is by his nation, which was very important at the time, to be of a nation, which noticeably his creature is not of a nation. And I just don't know what nation this is supposed to take place in.
Well, so here's the thing. Geneva at that time would have been...
in the 1930s.
Oh, in the 1930s?
Or in when she was writing it in 1818.
Right. I mean, this is like a period of time where Europe's borders are not solid at all. Like, we're still very much like doing our imperialism, and like, you know, we've got the Holy Roman Empire, we've got the, what did you just say?
The Austrian
Hungarian Empire, we've still got the Ottoman Empire. Like, so there's just really a lot going on, and I just don't know enough about that part of history to be able to answer that question.
Because it was, well, I mean, that's another thing, is that like the British or the Westernness of it is so interesting.
Yes.
While at the same time they're like, but we're in the Eastern Europe.
Right. It's Central Eastern Europe.
Yeah. That like all of our main characters are Westerners. Don't worry.
Yes, but everything they do is Germanic.
Yeah.
I mean, like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
The name is very, very German.
Yeah. There's also like kind of a question with the movie of like when it's supposed to take place, but apparently that was kind of like an intentional anachronistic touch where it was supposed to be like this takes place both sort of in the time of the novel and in the 30s at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of dope. I'm into that like decision.
It could be any time.
Yeah. But yeah, so there are some like anachronistic things in terms of like the technology they're using and stuff that I didn't necessarily pick up on because it all just looked old.
It just looks old because it's really old.
But it looked vaguely 1930, but I guess there's some things where people would have been like, even as 1930s people, they would have been like, ooh, archaic.
Quaint. So we have I think this movie's very quaint because it's like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yes, and it's not scary.
No, not at all.
It's very scary at the time.
I do think of some reasons why it probably would have been scary to some audiences at the time.
I mean, it starts in a graveyard. It starts with people digging up a body.
How you know, right?
Yeah, like that's scary. And it's not Christian behavior. She tapped her nose.
I'll come back to it later. I don't want to interrupt the flow. And so it's only an hour and 10 minutes, and there's very few characters.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of nameless background characters.
A lot of nameless background characters.
And a nameless main character. What up, creature?
Creature, right. And what's really interesting and like this movie, I think, deviates from the book in several ways.
Oh, yes.
But the craziest and the way that makes the least sense is that the main character,
oh my God,
Frankenstein, is not named Victor.
He's not Victor.
His name is Henry.
My first note watching this movie was, who the fuck is Henry?
Who the fuck is Henry?
Because Victor's just some other guy. He's also in this movie, but another guy.
Also a character named Victor, yes.
And it's confusing because in the novel, Victor Frankenstein is Victor Frankenstein.
Obviously.
But there's also Henry Clerval, who's like his best friend.
Okay.
And they just did a switcheroo on their names.
Okay.
I have a theory about it.
Okay, great. Well, so just over the course of this recording, I think we'll just be referring to him as Hank.
Yeah.
Or Hank Frank.
Yeah. Good old Hanky Frank.
Hanky Frank.
But no, I do have a theory about it,
yeah.
which is kind of back to what we were saying about the Britishness versus the Germanicness.
Sure.
I think Victor maybe
The Anglo versus the Saxon.
that read a little too Eastern, and that Henry is a very like upstanding like there's European
kings.
king Henrys, you know, that they were like, we are making our version of Frankenstein very like sympathetic and very much the hero.
Yeah.
So having him named Victor just feels a little more
Right.
Eastern and therefore bad.
Not what we're going for.
Yeah, that's my theory anyway.
Yeah.
Because they wanted him to be more sympathetic and innocent.
Which apparently worked at the time.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me, but because
you're like, clearly he's the villain.
Clearly he's the fucking worst. Yeah.
I don't know. I think in the movie he does not come across as the worst.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in the book he's way worse.
Oh, yeah.
But he's still kind of the worst in the movie.
Yeah.
He has, so this is the other thing, he has like a lackey who we historically and culturally understand to be named Igor.
But is not the case.
Not this time.
That was my other note, was who the fuck is Fritz? Because apparently that's this guy's name.
It's Fritz. Now, is there a Fritz Igor character in the book? I don't remember. No.
No. I think...
Yeah, Igor's from movies.
Yeah.
But not this one.
Yeah, no. Apparently he is from the third one,
Yep,
Son of Frankenstein, where he is played by the beautiful, wonderful Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
So I understand why he became such a, like... important part of the culture that we all know Igor because it was Bela Lugosi. What? But no, I do wonder about like why they added that lackey, and I think it is still sort of like because they are trying to recast Frankenstein as the sort of upstanding British American gentleman. He can't be doing common labor like digging up a grave or like bringing down bodies or getting a brain. Like he needs a lackey for that.
Yeah.
And also because that means they're going to make Fritz sort of take on the more abusive dad qualities.
Yeah.
That, you know.
He does really come in hot with the torch.
Yeah, he's
and
like
the whip.
whipping him.
Yeah, Fritz, chill
So like
out,
Henry
man.
still gets to be the good guy who's like trying to defend him. He doesn't want to murder the monster. He kind of understands why it lashed out at Fritz. So like it's never him. Even later when they like kind of abandon the monster, it's like Henry's dad and Dr. Waldman who are like conspiring to separate them, and like Henry doesn't want to. It's like against his wishes. He passes out or something, and that's when they separate him. So it's like, I don't know. I do think they're doing a lot of work to make Henry,
Yep,
more sympathetic,
likable.
Yeah. But then he is also fucking insane.
He's crazy. Well, and he has a dad.
Yes,
Baron. He's a Baron.
He's Baron Frankenstein.
So obviously emotionally unavailable. And
which is
Henry also
I'm
has...
not going to bring up all the things that are different in the book because there are too many.
There's too many, yeah.
But that is one.
He has a love interest, a fiancé, right?
A fiancé, yeah.
Elizabeth.
Who they do not mention in the novel is his proto-sister. Or not proto. That's not the word I mean. Pseudo-sister.
Pseudo-sister.
Yeah.
Wait, Elizabeth?
Yeah. They're basically brother-sister in the novel. Kind of. Well, sort of. Like they grew up together.
The kind of relationship
they grew up together. They're cousins.
Got it.
Who grew up in the same home together.
Yeah.
And from the moment they met each other, mom and dad were like, you guys are going to get married. And they were just like, okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
But
and
anyway.
Then we also have this other character actually named Victor.
Yes.
And then we have another like sort of mentor doctor, Dr. Waldman.
Yes.
It's Waldman.
Waldman. Because he's German, but also very British.
And then, of course, the creature.
Yeah.
And so just super quick, I know that like that's how I'm going to be referring to the creature because he's obviously not a monster.
No. And he is a creation.
He is a creation, exactly. And I am also going to be using male pronouns. I'm going to be using male pronouns to refer to the creature. I think those are appropriate because I was actually paying attention to the pronouns that people were using to refer to the creature. And it basically went between it and he.
Yeah, there's a lot of itting.
Itting, which I guess makes sense to me. And I just also think that Hank and Fritz would only have used male body parts.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes sense.
To defile a woman?
Exactly.
God, no.
I will be referring to him using he, him pronouns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if he has any gender interiority, it comes out in the sequel, which we will talk about next
we can
month.
talk about that later. Yeah, because
it's very masculine.
That's the May episode.
But yeah, should we dig down on Henry
Yeah.
Hanky Frank a little bit more?
Yeah.
So his story is similar to the beginning of the novel
Okay.
in that he goes to school and then while at school kind of goes into a scientific fugue state.
Obsession?
An obsession
Yeah.
with his creation.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets a little different after that. But
Yeah. But his obsession is to create life.
yes.
Specifically through using the body parts of corpses.
Yeah. Yeah. He has some line that's like, life, first to destroy it and then recreate it.
Right.
Like, he's not making life, he's recreating
Exactly.
life. There's like a difference there.
Yeah. He wants to create life and destroy it first so that he can recreate it.
Yes.
Which makes him feel adjacent to
God.
God.
Yeah.
Which
Obviously.
I have thoughts on, but that's fine.
Yeah. I have thoughts on it as well, yes.
Yeah. That's the idea.
We'll just hang a little.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. He's a total dick to Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really think Elizabeth is a person to him.
I don't know that anybody is really a person to
yeah.
him. I think part of that is because he's in such a... Like, we don't know what he was like when he was not in this obsessive state. You know? Like, this is enough of a change in his character that people are concerned.
People have noticed, yeah. They're coming around. They're like,
what the fuck, Henry?
If I may use the term circling the wagons.
Yeah.
Right? To be like, all
They're
right,
like-
all hands in
Yeah.
on Henry right now.
Do we need to have an intervention?
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah, because he fully, like, just disappears from his college.
Yeah, he's like drops out of his classes.
Yeah.
He's not like paying attention to the relationships that he was before.
Yeah, he's not talking to his dad.
Yeah.
He's not talking to his fiance.
Yep.
We assume Victor is his good friend. He's his, like, best man at the wedding, it looks like.
It looks like.
Though he's also trying to steal his girl.
Yeah, Victor's in love with Elizabeth. It's very obvious.
Yeah, but, you know, that's beside the point. But I do want to make, in terms of him being a college dropout.
Yeah.
I just want to say a lot of people make jokes.
You need to make an
about
argument.
Victor Frankenstein being a college dropout.
Uh-huh.
And I just want to push back on that idea a little
Okay.
bit. Like, maybe that it would be more true in the 30s. When this movie is taking place.
Right.
And maybe we're very much understanding Frankenstein, the novel, through how it's been interpreted in the movies, you know?
film, yeah.
Like, I think that's also true. But I think, like, I don't think college dropout as a term would mean anything
No.
in the late 18th century.
Not at all.
Like, it was very common for especially nobles and upper class gentlemen,
Yeah.
like Victor Frankenstein used to be, to like go to university for a few years, and like getting a degree was like not the point.
No.
The point was like to make connections and get like appropriate socialization, quote unquote.
And
Like, you wouldn't necessarily be specializing in a certain field. Like, if you
certain sets of skills.
yeah, if you wanted to do that, you would then like get a clerkship for a judge or like interns, you know, like you would become
apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship. Yeah,
Yeah.
you would do something like that. So like in the novel, it's perfectly fine that Frankenstein goes to school for 2 years, at which point his own professors, including Professor Waldman, because he is a character in the book,
Yep.
he says that there's literally nothing more we can teach you, Frankenstein. You're so smart and cool.
That's true.
You're such a
yeah.
scientist. So
Yeah.
then he takes
You're
a 2-year
such a
sabbatical.
scientist.
And then, you know, and does his own studies. And then he actually goes back to the school and takes like language classes. So like he's not a college dropout. He's
No.
a very well-educated man.
He's an academic.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
like very well-rounded, very academic. Maybe he doesn't deserve to be called Dr. Frankenstein because he's not a doctor.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I think calling him a college dropout is like A, wrong factually.
Yeah.
And B, I mean, like, just has certain connotations that I don't love about like valuing certain type of intelligence over, you know, and like certain signifiers of intelligence over other things.
Certain accomplishments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I find just kind of weird and awkward.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
the jokes are funny, so I don't know.
thank you for clearing that up. Because it was like, is he a doctor? Dr. Frankenstein?
Yeah, no.
No.
I'm
probably
not even sure. Yeah, I'm not sure, especially since, I mean, doctor as a term, I'm not sure of the historicity of that. Historiosity of that.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have used...
Would they have used that just to mean...
Right, like a doctor traditionally, see, I don't know the timeline of like when it would shift to refer to medical professionals, but like a doctor just meant like a doctor of like philosophy.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
you had
like,
a PhD in an area
what
of
does
study.
doctor mean
Yeah.
in the 1818s?
So maybe he is like a doctor of like chemistry or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, but again, he does not get a degree. But again, that would be normal in his time
That
period.
would be normal, yeah.
So
wait,
I don't know.
do you think Dr. Waldman has a degree? Or is he like maybe
I think he's called Professor Waldman.
Professor, you're
or
right,
Mr.
yeah.
Waldman.
That's true, which has to do with his
Or
job.
you know when they just put the M period Waldman? And I don't know if they mean Mr. or if they mean Monsieur or if they mean something else because again, the historical context is not my strong suit.
Yeah.
I just read. I don't know.
But what I also noticed is that Hank Frank also has like some very serious daddy issues. Like
Yes.
the Baron is not an emotionally available caregiver.
No.
And like we don't get anything about Hank's mom.
I
Assume
could
she's
only assume she's
died?
dead. I
Yeah.
mean, she dies in the novel, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
She dies shortly before he makes his creature, which I gotta think is
It's
relevant
probably part of
to
it.
his mental state.
Yeah.
But we don't have that. We don't have that information.
Yeah.
In the movie, if that's what it is, if that's part of what's driving him.
Yeah.
We just have his dad who kind of sucks.
But yeah,
he doesn't suck. He's just kind of like,
he's not available emotionally. But what's really funny is that like after all the shit goes down at the end in the wedding scene,
Yeah.
he's the cutest.
Yeah.
He's like talking about the family like orange blossom corsages.
Oh, yeah.
And he really is like, my dad wore them, I wore them, your son will wear them. And I'm like, oh, that's actually a really nice moment.
I think that's because it's coming from a place of like, where men could express feeling.
Yeah. And
Because it's about lineage.
right. And it's about
His progeny and like his you know,
legacy.
His
Yes.
legacy, yeah.
And then I was also wondering, it's like, also he's a baron, like, does he just love a pageant?
Yeah.
You know?
That's
like,
true.
like
That's
weddings tend to be.
Yeah. Especially when you're the baron of this small, whatever this little village
The
is.
whole
where the whole
village
village is celebrating your marriage.
Is like singing and dancing and cooking and like
Because you're getting married.
because your kid's getting married. Yeah. So maybe he just loves a pageant and it's just like lifted his spirits. But other than that, he's not.
I mean,
really
he does get to bring
available.
out the good spirits, you know.
Yeah,
It's
the good shit.
And he doesn't let the servant streak.
And so to me, that is so. I feel like Hank is the way he is for two reasons.
Yes.
One being his emotionally unavailable caregivers, maybe because his mom is dead or whatever. And so because that is exactly how he treats his creature.
Yeah.
You know, this idea of I will destroy life, even though he's not really destroying life. The life's already destroyed. If you want to use that word, whatever.
He also has an interesting line
His
where he's
ideas fall
talking about
apart.
it, where he says that body is not dead.
Yeah.
It has never lived. And I'm like, I guess as a whole, that body has never lived.
Yeah.
Because it's various different bodies, but also those different parts were part of a living.
Did live.
So
yeah, I have some philosophical differences with Henry Frankenstein. It's fine. And so because that's also he's like creating and recreating life, and then like it seems like at least in the novel and then also in the film that like he seems to get overwhelmed by the life that he has created, and he's like, oh shit, what do I do now?
He literally in the novel goes to bed.
Yes, yeah, he's
he
like
has just like a little
and just kind of
freak out, pass out.
Yeah, and then like just lets the creature just
kind of wander
around the castle. Is it in a castle at the time?
No, it's in some apartments.
In the apartment, wherever, just meander about. And so it's basically the same thing, you know. Like I see Hank as like so obsessed with being able to create life and have what he considers to be the power of God.
Yes,
but like creating life is only one part of it. And then you have to nurture that
the actual rest of the life.
Right. Because if he's trying to be like God, he is still a human. And that's how you raise a mammal. Like you can't just give it life
and walk away
and fuck off.
Yeah.
You have to nurture it. You have to like teach it and give it skills.
Yeah.
And like he like wants humans, and this is like, you know, we were talking about how like maybe our conversation around this will get similar to our conversations that we had around Alien.
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, it's a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
You know? And there is, both of them have this idea of like removing humans,
the womb
from the creation process.
Yeah.
And so like Hank is trying to do that.
Yeah.
But like he seems to be under the impression, and unfortunately very male impression.
That's why I think this is all very
it's
masculine.
very male, that like all you have to do is make the thing, and like boom, now you're God status.
Yeah.
And it's like, honey,
whatever
that's
happens after that,
literally
like,
the first half. There's a whole other half.
Because men don't have to really be involved in what happens after that.
No. And so here's my kind of second prong as to why Henry is the way that he is. Is because of this Dr. Waldman character.
Yeah.
Because to me, he gives off phrenologist vibe.
Oh my God, yes.
Did you write down phrenologist?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay.
Take it away.
Fucking. First off, just using the word degenerate, that has
Criminal
eugenics.
brain.
Yeah, degeneracy is a eugenics concept.
Yeah.
like that comes from eugenics bullshit. And of course, a lot of eugenics work was accomplished in America and involved grape raping. So true.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
absolutely. So I think his psychosis, Henry's psychosis, and I think it's appropriate to call it a psychosis.
Yes, I think so too.
Is being encouraged in a way by his study of medicine.
Coming from this guy.
And also just the European establishment.
Yes.
After, I mean, this is supposed to be what? So, okay, the novel takes place in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So we're talking about after a couple hundred years of removing like medical knowledge from women and indigenous groups, and making European men the experts on medicine. Also, and like you were saying, it's totally not unheard of, especially during this time, that medical students would have been robbing graves for medical research because they needed cadavers.
And it was like the poor, people in like paupers' graves, criminals who didn't get good grades, and then people of color all over the place.
That was something that absolutely would have been happening in his university.
Yeah.
So it's not like weird. And
in like the 1930s.
Or even 100 years before that.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, Dr. Waldman, total phrenologist, obsessed with the idea of a quote unquote criminal brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eugenics, anyone? Yeah. Making judgments about how good or evil the creature is based off how its body looks.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is the dude who is teaching Hank. He's part of the system in this, in this school. Yeah. And so like, of course, Hank is going to think like, oh yeah, like I can hold the power of God. I can create life. Like I am
the Ubermensch.
Yeah, I am the Ubermensch. I think maybe, but I actually don't know how old that term is.
Because when was, those murderer guys? Ubermensch.
Leopold and Loeb.
In
the 20s.
Nietzsche. In 1883.
1883. Okay, so in the movie,
and
we would
it got translated to English in 1909.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
maybe. So that's definitely something that would have been.
Could have been.
It was a part of like phrenologist and eugenicist ideas, which were very popular before World War II when the Nazis made it suddenly not cool
and
anymore.
Then all of a sudden
they're like, what? No, we didn't mean it that.
You guys took it too far.
Yeah. And it's like, you guys, America started this.
Yeah.
I also want to just make a point of clarification that I'm not sure if you're aware of.
Oh, okay.
We've both read Frankenstein, the novel.
I borrowed it.
You borrowed it from me.
Thank you.
The one I have is the original 1818 version of the novel.
Oh, that's right. You were mentioning this. Yeah.
And then Mary Shelley did a revised version in 1831, and that was the one that was actually
got more popular.
Yeah, and was like the one that was sold from like pretty much then on. It's the one that they would have had when they were making this movie.
Yeah.
And there's like one difference between the two. There aren't a lot of differences, but the differences that do exist, I think, make the novel worse. But one of the differences that I think is relevant to our conversation is like where Frankenstein's own responsibility lies. Because I think in the original 1818 story, he has like real he has a real sense of free will, and like it's very clear that his sin, his like original sin, quote unquote, is like very much in that he failed to nurture his creation. Like he didn't bring up his creation right. Like it's clear that that's like where it was. Whereas like in the 1831 revision, it's a lot more placed on like the science itself as like a corruption of like the natural order or whatever. Like that is the evil at the root of it all.
Yes.
And like Frankenstein is very much kind of like in this movie, driven almost by a power beyond himself or something. Like it's like he's compelled to do the things that he's doing.
Like
he's
an
like in a
obsession.
state of frenzy about it, you know? It's not really like something he's doing of his free will almost. And it just takes a lot of the responsibility away from him.
Yeah.
In a way that I find interesting. And then, puts less of a focus on like, well, the problem is that isn't that this creature is innately evil because it has a criminal's brain or whatever the fuck you want to say.
Yeah.
Right? Which seems to be what the movie's kind of driving at. But it's like, no, the actual problem is that from the moment this creature was born, he was treated like shit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know? And I just think that's a different understanding of
right, because
the story.
If anyone has responsibility, it's Frankenstein. Like, given the power structure that he exists within, he's the one who like is the most in need of acting responsibly and ethically.
Yeah.
Because his actions carry so much more weight and power.
Yeah.
Because of who he is.
Yeah. Than anybody else in this story.
Than anybody else in the story. Yeah, for
because
sure.
he, unlike his father, has scientific knowledge, and unlike his teacher, has lineage and money.
That's true. Yeah.
So like he's kind of at the top in all directions.
He's got it all.
He's a man with wealth and intelligence.
Absolutely. I literally thinking about Victor's fiancée, Elizabeth. I literally wrote down one thing for her, which is she's described as nervous a lot.
Yeah, poor thing.
Yeah.
I found it really interesting. It's clear that like the characters themselves are treating Hank as in a state of some sort of like delusion, or like even when they see the monster.
Yeah.
But before that, he's very adamant. He's like, I'm not mad. And it's like, nobody's called you mad yet.
Yeah.
But then later they do kind of. And like when they have him back at home away from his creature, one of the things that she says to like, I don't know, comfort him or something is like, Henry, you're not to think of those things anymore. You promised.
Yes.
It's just like, put it out of your mind. And I gotta imagine that's where a lot of her nervousness comes from. Is that strategy of like, don't think about it.
Just put it out of your mind.
Pretend it's not there.
Yes.
You'll be so much happier. Are you though?
Are you though, Elizabeth?
And yeah, I do have to wonder about the strategy of this woman is clearly having some sort of panic attack because she's had some sort of premonition about the monster or the wedding or whatever.
Oh yeah, she's like a seer.
Yeah, basically.
Well. Yeah.
And so the strategy then from her fiance is to lock her up alone in a room by herself, which has always helped my panic attacks when somebody just
locks you in a room. Did that room have yellow wallpaper?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like nervous. I was like, you mean she has an anxiety disorder?
Yeah.
This is what I'm
or
hearing.
You mean she is a woman responding appropriately to the fact that her future husband created a monster in her eyes.
Has first of all ghosted her.
Yeah, totally disappeared.
Yeah.
And then when she does find him, he's like
Leave me
either
alone.
having some sort of like psychotic episode or has created something unfathomable.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think I'd be a little freaked out too. I think I'd be having questions about our pending nuptials.
Yes.
But
not Elizabeth. But so I just feel like Elizabeth's not much of like a presence in this movie, but she comes back in a big way.
Yes.
She gets a makeover.
Yeah.
In that the actress changes.
Yeah.
Right?
And the costume changes. She's
the
definitely
hair.
in this one very much the like pure womanhood, sort of innocent, virginal kind of vibe. You kind of get the sense that Frankenstein's creature, he seems to be a little bit drawn to like beauty and flowers and stuff. So you kind of wonder if the reason why he went to Elizabeth's room is just because she had all those flowers in there and she was being beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, because she is just so like the symbol of beauty and wonder and white womanhood and and he doesn't seem very premeditated in this version, the creature. It
No.
doesn't seem like he was like, I'm going to go attack Elizabeth to make Henry
he's
upset.
Been given no structure. He's just meandering.
He is really meandering.
Yeah.
And he saw something pretty and he went inside.
Yeah.
And then the next scene we have after he's in the room with her, oh my God, she is languishing on the bed.
In
Saucy.
her own private room.
Yes. But a man was just in there with her. Racy.
Okay.
But she's, fine. And her womanhood is still intact.
Yes.
Unlike in the novel where he kills her graveyard dead.
Graveyard dead. As opposed to any other kind of death.
Yes.
Okay.
But I do think it's getting at something that this movie is doing where they're having Elizabeth just sort of represent the pure womanhood that needs to be protected by the monstrous because of his appearance.
And so, of course, she's boring as fuck.
So, of course, she's boring as
Yeah.
fuck. But I do think there's something sort of, I don't know if I want to say racial going on there, but I do think there's a certain element of that in like the creature being marked out as like wrong because of his appearance specifically. Like Henry Frankenstein was all for him until he saw his, like his appearance, and then everybody was like, "Oh my God,
he knew exactly what he was going to look like." Whatever.
I just think I just wonder because it's coming out in 1930.
I understand.
If there is a certain racial anxiety being expressed in this white woman getting harassed by this.
I have a theory.
Other.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
Are we ready to talk about the creature?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, so much has been said about this creature, but like, yeah, it was really interesting to me that immediately this creature comes into sentience, if you will.
Yeah.
And is like immediately stigmatized and referred to as a monster.
Yeah.
And antagonized and then punished for responding to violence with violence.
Yes. No, they do it
Looking
right
at
from
you,
the
Fritz.
beginning. Yeah. No, the way we first see him, this creature.
Yeah.
Like as the audience, we first see him because he comes through the door backwards. He's walking backwards through the doorway.
Whoa.
Which is just very like...
That is weird.
He's doing life in reverse, first off.
Yeah.
Like, creation, death,
Death,
and then being recreated. Like, I get that. But also it's like, oh, he needs to be scary and ominous. And he needs to be backwards. He needs to be not white Western manhood that we want, upstanding gentleman stuff. He needs to be like backwards and weird.
Yeah.
Even though we see that's like... all the things he does, like you say, they're responses to violence that is being done to him.
Yeah.
Or just his own misunderstanding, like with the little girl with the flowers.
Yep.
It's like, he's not trying to kill her. I think it's based on a scene in the book where he sees a young woman drowning and he goes to save her, and then the people see him doing that and are like, why are you killing her?
Yeah,
like it's that, like, but it's like there's something in this movie where it's like they're trying to posit that like he can't help being criminal. Everything he does, even when he doesn't mean to be. Mm-hmm. He's just naturally predisposed by his brain to be evil.
Except no one has taught him
to
what
anything.
The rules are. So how is he supposed to know?
Yeah.
That's what I thought again about that girl, the flower scene.
Yeah.
Which was, of course, a huge deal and would have been terrifying at the time.
Right. Yeah.
When the creature is met with like innocence and even kindness.
Yes.
That
little girl doesn't care what he looks like.
From a child. No, she's being super cool. He misreads the social cue.
Yes.
Because he hasn't been taught them.
Yeah.
Which
he's like, cool, things float on this thing.
Yeah, lead to a terrible accident that the public interprets as purposeful and interprets as like inherent
evilness
to the creature's identity.
Yeah. When it was just like, a mistake or like... Yeah, I mean, at least with Fritz and the professor, he was definitely trying to kill them, but it was very much coming from a place of defending himself.
Yeah, dude, like Fritz like shoved a torch in his face.
Yeah, and was like whipping him and shit.
Yeah.
And was like purposely harassing him.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
Yeah, antagonizing.
Yeah, and then Professor Waldman was like, he knocked him out with some sort of drug and then was like, I don't know, gonna vivisect him or...
I think that was the plan.
Yeah. Or...
Which is pretty fucked up, Dr. Waldman.
Yeah. Don't love that.
Well, because he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't really see it as
a person.
Yeah.
And if it is, it's a criminal person, so it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it has that criminal brain in it.
Yeah.
What can it be but a criminal? I love also that Henry's first plan for a brain was to get the guy who was like hanged.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that's also a criminal brain, Henry.
Yeah, he was hanged for crimes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then
I
you're
don't know why I'm
upset that
laughing,
Fritz
but-
got another criminal brain? Like, it's not that big of a deal, I thought.
Yeah. But also he was right. Like, honestly, once like there is that disconnection of the
Yeah.
brain stem, like from the neck to, it's not going to work for you.
But I wonder, the brain they end up with is also disconnected
know,
from
it
the brain
doesn't-
because it's
doesn't-
just a brain in a jar.
Doesn't make any sense. I know.
None of it makes sense.
Because also, like, you know, and we'll talk about this as we get into like science fiction and mad scientists, is like historically people have not known about that, like, you actually need more than just a brain in a jar to,
right,
like, you know?
yeah. I mean, a lot of things right now. I like,
Yeah.
because, you know, obviously part of the recreation of this thing, there's like lightning involved, of like the spark of life kind of stuff.
Yes.
But also, one point he says that he found a ray beyond ultraviolet.
Oh,
the ray that creates life.
He found a new color.
Yeah, that's basically,
Okay.
That's what creates life. Something beyond ultraviolet.
Something beyond ultraviolet, and that's what creates life.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Um,
Can shrimp see that color?
shrimp?
Yeah,
Why shrimp?
because shrimps can see lots of colors.
Oh,
that
that's
humans
right, because of
can't.
the cones. That's right. Or rods, whichever.
Yeah.
Totally irrelevant to this.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about the creature
Um,
before I get into the golem illusions?
I guess I just want to say, just real quick, just to get back to the novel for a moment.
Yeah.
That I think Mary's version of the creature did tend more towards the side of like, the problem was his lack of nurture.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there are plenty of scenes in the book that we will talk about next
Probably
month
for Bride. Yeah.
where he does get some nurturing. And it really changes who he is. He isn't like inherently monstrous. And also, I was reading this thing about the edits that Percy did make to Mary's manuscript, you know, when he was doing it. He made things a lot more verbose and wordy. Men.
Including the dialogue of the creature.
Yeah, I
'cause-
think, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, I think to me the main difference is like the creature is a talker.
Yes.
He yaps.
He is a yapper for
This
sure.
creature-
The boy be yapping.
Yeah.
This creature does not talk, which is so interesting.
Boris Karloff.
Oh, yeah,
Of
Boris
course.
Karloff.
Of course. I mean, it's like,
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Boris Karloff
Yeah.
while we're here for a second.
yeah. So like, yeah, this creature is being portrayed by like the legendary Boris Karloff, and pretty much the only sound he gets to make is
Wow. Yeah.
good, bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that comes later. He doesn't
That's
even get to
later.
say it this time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, another thing, I think Percy's edits came a lot more from the side of the monster being sort of inherently monstrous. You
In
know?
its appearance.
Yeah. And just like in its being, that there was something innate in it that I don't think necessarily was coming from Mary Shelley, though I also do think that she was aware of its inherent monstrosity of how it was created.
Right.
But the problem is how it was then
like
nurtured.
the abomination.
Yeah, it's referred to a lot in the novel as an abortion because back then that would have meant like something that is born wrong rather than something that is aborted as we think of it now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just wanted to touch on the novel for real quick. Okay. And just that, you know, Mary. Oh, and one other thing about kind of the novel, I do think it's poetical, I guess.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, poetic.
Poetical.
That our monster, our creature, he starts in this old tower and then he meets his end, or so we think, in an old tower in that old windmill.
The windmill, yeah.
And the novel is also famously kind of like circular in that it starts with this other guy, Walton's story. Then we get Victor's. Then we get the creature's story. Then we go back to Victor. Then we end with Walton again. Like it goes all the way around. And this was coming...
It's a theme.
It's a theme.
Yeah.
This is coming in the Romantic period of literature.
Yes, it is.
So, like, poets of this period, like Percy Bysshe Shelley, were writing in a form that, like, came to be called the Greater Romantic Lyric. And these were very much focused on internal meditations, much like Frankenstein is, and had this circular structure where they would sort of, like, go outward first, like they're viewing a mountain, and then make an inward internal reflection, and then go back out to the beginning to view it again, like we've returned to the beginning but we're changed now. Like that was very much the theme of it, and I think this movie kind of like captured that in the way with like he started in this tower and now he's ending in this tower, and like the fire being sort of like his genesis as a quote unquote monster, and then it being what kills him, though of course it doesn't kill him, but we'll deal with that next month.
The retconning though.
Yeah. Is Henry dead? Is he not dead? Hard to say.
It doesn't matter. Shh. You're overthinking it.
Yeah. But yes, but you want to talk about the scenes where the people are going after him with the fire and
Yeah.
I did think my reaction to that scene was that it was mostly men, going out with their fire
Yeah.
and doing
There
their
are a couple
thing.
of ladies, but
But I really felt like the women watching looked almost more frightened of these men than they did of whatever they were hunting. I mean, because I gotta imagine a lot of these women don't really know what they're hunting.
Yeah,
like
they don't know what's
nobody
going on.
actually saw this little girl get drowned.
No,
they just saw her dad come up holding, which devastating.
Which was, yeah.
That
Ooh.
fucking scene is devastating.
Yeah,
oh my
hits.
God.
Yeah.
And he's whoever that actor is. I don't know his name. I'm sorry.
No, I don't
But
either.
kudos to him. He does his grief so powerfully.
Yeah.
It's really good. But no, like the women, however they figure out that it's some sort of monster, I don't know. But like, yeah, the women watching all these men get up into this big frenzy fury.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we're going to stay inside.
Yeah. With the kids.
Yeah.
For the kids.
For the safety.
Yeah.
And we're delicate.
Yeah, I can't. Sorry.
So-
yeah.
so
Well, I
delicate.
feel like ladies get more involved in the mobs in Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. We get actual women talking.
Because Minnie.
Because Minnie.
I can't wait to talk about Minnie. Yeah, the mob out to kill him, honestly, initially made me think of a lynch mob.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, but
And I think that would have been in the 1930s.
1930s.
I gotta imagine that
America?
would have been
Yeah.
present in some people's minds.
Yeah. But then, of course, I know that
especially since he had quote unquote killed a white girl.
he did kill a white girl. Yeah. But that's obviously an American thing, and we know that this is taking place in around Geneva.
Yeah, somewhere
right?
vaguely Central Eastern
Central
European.
Europe. Yeah. So then it made me think, well, then maybe a pogrom is more of an appropriate analogy.
And I love that idea.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating because, again, the time period.
The times, yes. And I was just in general wondering about the Jewishness of this movie. Like having...
Yes. Because Hollywood.
Having Stein... Well, Hollywood. But also just Stein is like a very common Jewish last name.
Yeah.
But it is also just a more broadly German last name because, like, I cannot stress this enough, how many Jews used to live in what is now Germany, Poland, and Austria.
Yeah.
And so it's really just more of a Germanic last name. And then I also learned something in my research. Apparently, European Jews didn't take last names until the 1800s.
Oh.
Apparently.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, last names in general were kind of
Yeah.
not important for some people.
Yeah.
Or like...
It's basically...
and so many last names are just sort of like, yeah, I'm that guy's son.
yeah, I mean, my last name.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Williams is probably that
Yeah,
too.
well, same thing.
I'm of William.
Yeah.
William the Conqueror. Perhaps that's what my aunt says.
Oh. But so it was making me think, I was like, maybe pogrom is more accurate. And then it was, we're chasing this monster, this outsider, represents physically representing different, difference
Yes.
and what's unwelcome.
Chasing him out of the town.
Out of
with
town
fire.
and yeah. So I was thinking about that. And then it did make me think about, like, I am aware of the sort of mythical creature that is the golem.
I'm so happy you're bringing up the golem.
Yeah.
Because I think Frankenstein's monster is so interesting that it's hard to say, like, he has become his own type of monster. It's not like Dracula. Dracula is a vampire.
Yeah.
The mummy is a mummy.
Is a mummy,
The
yeah.
Wolfman is a werewolf,
Yeah.
But, like, what is Frankenstein's monster? Because he's not really a zombie, but he is some sort of undead, reanimated thing. And the idea of a golem, which is, from my understanding, a construct of, like, clay or something like that.
Yeah.
Only this being a construct of flesh.
Yeah, human.
Like, I
body
wonder
parts.
if that, I think that's an interesting connection.
I learned so much about the golem, and at first, as I was doing my research, I was just like, actually, I really don't think there's much of a connection here.
Yeah.
Between the story of the golem and the creature. But I think between the two of us, we might be able to find a couple. So the word golem actually goes back to the Talmud.
Okay.
And so, like, really early rabbinic literature would have understood the term golem to refer to Adam.
Oh,
the very first
Okay.
human being before he receives a soul.
Interesting. Also interesting in the context of the novel where the creature says to Victor that I was to be your Adam.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk even more about Adam later in my literary corner.
So
very fascinating.
Golem refers to Adam before he receives a soul.
That's so interesting.
And early Jewish texts would actually there's a number of stories about the creation of artificial humans and animals by various Jewish sages. So there's a specific Jewish mysticism called Kabbalah.
Yeah.
Kabbalists are people who practice it.
Yeah.
And so the term golem gains a lot of currency around the late 12th century.
Okay, yeah.
When Kabbalists in German-speaking lands, right? So that would have been about where we're looking at here, would have used the word golem to describe a silent man artificially created from clay and brought to life through an incantation of Hebrew letters and words.
I mean, that's already feeling like Frankenstein's creation. It's not out of clay, but it's out of... In a way, isn't man just clay?
Right, isn't a human. I mean...
Yeah, and it's, in this version at least, is wordless.
Yeah.
And, you know.
But here's to me, the really interesting thing, because it has to be specific Hebrew letters and words. And so the creature is animated by writing the Hebrew word emet, which means truth or real. Usually on the golem's forebhead, but I think technically it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Just needs to be written. And then that brings it to life. And then, but if you remove the first letter of the word emet, which is an aleph, that's the Hebrew letter. If you remove the aleph, then emet becomes met, which means death.
Oh.
And so then the creature's like, okay, I'm done now, like collapses, you know.
That's an easy on-off switch.
Yes. Because, and the idea is, this is like very Jewish mysticism, is that the letters of the divine language, of like God's language, are reflected in human language and are just like concentrations of divine creative energy.
Beautiful.
We don't know lightning storm required.
Yeah. It's just the language of God, man.
It is God.
Lets you act similar to God and create life.
And so here's the like Jewish mysticism idea of a golem. So a golem may be created by man, but man is not capable of creating same life in the same manner of God.
Of course.
Right. Only God, because again, a golem refers to Adam before he receives a soul.
Yes.
In Judaism, and honestly, all Abrahamic religions should probably also, because it's in the Hebrew scriptures, the Old Testament, that you get your soul when you take breath. And that breath is supposed to be like the power of God breathing life into you.
Oh, that's kind
to
of
give you life. Yeah. Which is why Jews tend to be pretty cool with abortion.
Oh,
and approach it because they're like, he hasn't taken breath yet, man.
There's no
Doesn't
soul.
have a soul. I mean, there's still like, you know,
variations
protections of like, this is still precious, but like, the pregnant person's got a whole soul.
Yeah.
So what about them? Anyway.
I'm always saying it.
I'm trying to tell you. So anyway, so only God can breathe life into a golem, and only God can create a soul.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so basically that's kind of what's happening with Frankenstein's monster, creature, whatever the creature is, that like it is a man sort of without a soul.
Yes. And supposedly, I mean, according to Victor/Henry, he has found the God code. He has found the secret to life.
Yeah.
And seems to think that he can then therefore give a life, perhaps a soul.
Yeah.
Through beyond ultraviolet light, or through galvanism, lightning stuff, or whatever it is. Yeah. But like, can he? Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where the idea of a golem comes from. But the main, most famous golem story is the story of the Golem of Prague, which is now in what we now call Czechia. And so what's really interesting is that this story dates back to the 16th century, but was basically sort of an oral story. And so, of course, subject to, there's so many different versions of this fucking story. It doesn't actually get written down and published in a novel until 1837, which is about 20 years after Frankenstein was published.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff online like, did, Mary Shelley know about the Golem of Prague, and did that influence blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
In my research, she probably didn't know about the Golem of Prague, and it probably didn't impact her story, but there's still some really interesting parallels.
There's some resonances.
Yeah. Because again, like, Judaism was like so infused in European culture before World War II that it might have just been a story.
Yeah.
Like, people might have like known about it.
And I don't know necessarily that you would call it a ghost story, but something we're going to talk about next episode is how Frankenstein came to be written.
Yeah.
And it started with Mary Shelley and her husband and friends telling specifically like German folktales and ghost stories to each other.
Yeah.
So
Well, this wouldn't have been German.
Yeah,
Well,
but I mean-
Germanic, but yeah.
Yeah, but that kind of idea while they were in Geneva. So like, I don't know. It's possible that they would have had some version of the story that they were telling to each other. I don't know.
So the story varies in so many ways, but like, here's the main beats. A golem is created by a rabbi. I have no idea how I'm supposed to say his name. I saw it written like 4 different ways. It looks like Loew, Loew.
Okay.
Loew. So Rabbi Loew, to protect the Jewish ghettos of Prague from the pogroms in the 16th century in the Holy Roman Empire. Because, always, but especially during the Holy Roman Empire, which, by the way, always need to mention when I talk about the Holy Roman Empire, neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. But the blood libel conspiracy, super hot in the HRE for sure. So just for anybody who doesn't know, that's this like conspiracy theory that Jewish people abduct and murder Christians, specifically children and babies, for rituals. And these usually at the time would specifically tick up around Easter. Like, the Christians would go to church for their Easter mass, and the pastors would get them all riled up and be like, it's the Jews that killed Jesus.
Yeah.
Go get them. So they would usually tick up around Easter, but they could happen kind of whenever. And so the golem is created to protect the Jewish ghettos and to protect the Jews from the pogroms.
Yeah.
And it works. He seems to do his job for about a decade or so. And so the rabbi decides, like, you know what, I don't really think we need this golem anymore. He's kind of served his function, like, he was created to serve this purpose, and now he doesn't really have this purpose anymore. And so he's got like his students studying under him. And so like, then this is where like the versions get even crazier. So like, basically how they, sort of decommission the golem. There's some versions where it's like super like, calm and humane, where like they take the golem to temple. They even like say Kaddish, which is like a prayer for the dead. Like, they really are treating him like a man, like a Jewish man. And then there's other versions where like, kind of because the golem has like done its thing, it kind of like goes crazy, or like kind of starts
been made to be
a protector
in a violent way, and so it only
kind
knows
of
violence.
Yeah, and so like in some versions it starts to turn on to like the Jewish people of Prague, or like turn on people who it's supposed to be helping,
Which has certain Frankenstein's creature parallels.
a little Frankenstein-y. And so what's really interesting is that like I was reading sort of like this sort of layout of like the different versions of the story, and the earliest versions, the 16th and 17th century versions, all seem to be to show this rabbi again treating the golem much more like a man than a monster. And then as the story goes on, the golem becomes a little bit more monsterfied. And so there's a lot of different ways that the golem gets taken out. So like, again, the idea of the emet, getting rid of the aleph to make it met. There's like some stories where, the rabbi is like in a confrontation with the golem, and like in the process of like removing the aleph, the golem collapses on top of the rabbi and kills the rabbi. It's just like,
look at that, the creation killing its creator. That's also very Frankenstein.
It's a whole thing. But I prefer the version where they take him to the synagogue and he receives Kaddish. That's my headcanon for the Golem of Prague.
That seems nice. That seems sweet.
But what I did basically find out is that there's no literary evidence to suggest that Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley would have been
Yeah.
inspired by or even really known about.
This is like how when we were doing our
That story.
Dracula episode, and I found out that they're really like literary consensus is that he didn't know who Vlad the Impaler
No
was.
fucking
There's
clue.
no fucking connection
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, so yeah, there's no like letters or
Yeah.
any evidence to suggest
Yeah.
that she would have known about that.
Yeah, but it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think something about Mary Shelley,
Mhm.
and something that I almost want to say is very common of like, it's something that teen girls just culturally, because of the way that we are socialized, are very good at, which is just sort of picking up lots of bits of culture around us.
Oh yeah.
And sort of sponging it up.
Yep.
And being able to reflect it.
Yep.
You know? That I think there's a lot of stuff that it seems like Mary Shelley was just sort of picking up that was in the air.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All this stuff about
She's
like the
just
science
observing.
at the time.
Yep.
You know, the different philosophies of the time. Like she was clearly picking up a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Even perhaps things that she didn't realize she was picking up, you know?
Yeah. Right. So we've already talked about this. Like the creation is kind of like that moaning, you know, monstrous thing that destroys,
Yeah.
kind of like the golem a little bit.
Right. Though, yeah. It wasn't originally intended to be a protector, but that's
No.
because I don't think Frankenstein had an original intention.
I think he ego stroking was his intention.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep,
He was like, I
that's-
can create life.
Yep. I can. I'm God now.
What am I doing with that life? I don't know.
Anyway, so when we also get into the 20th century, the golem story continues to change even more.
Oh.
Because I think there's a couple of reasons for this. This is around, especially by the 20th century, this is when the Jewish populations of Eastern and Central Europe are like really GTFO.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah,
will.
yeah.
They're being murdered. They're being exiled. They're
Yeah.
taking themselves to the U.S., whatever. And so the Jewish culture like really drains out of Central Europe specifically.
Yeah.
And then after World War II, like Hasidim, you know, Orthodox Jews are like, their presence is way less. And the filmmakers in what would have been called Bohemia, the Bohemian filmmakers, kind of become less inclined to follow the authenticity of the original story because like the source of it is so far removed, you know? And then of course they're probably, German expressionism isn't as popular. Maybe because there were a lot of Jewish German expressionists. I don't know. And then so like these Bohemian filmmakers, once we get into like the era of cinema, they kind of, it seems like they're really strongly influenced by American cinema, especially the way American cinema interprets a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the golem does kind of turn from, it was originally this unfinished man,
Right.
to a monster.
When was this? What movie are you talking about? This Bohemian movie?
Oh, it's just like the filmmakers in because then we do actually start through the 20th century. We do start to see different golem films. The
that's
golem
what-
shows up in films. There's a bunch.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if there was a
And
specific one.
they're
you meant.
like in German.
Ah.
But then there's also U.S. ones.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
like ones in English as well. And so like through the 20th century, as we start to get cinema and we start to show the golem in cinema, it gets like more and more mindless and more violent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, I don't know, maybe an aside, maybe not. There's a monster in Dungeons and Dragons in the monster manual called a golem.
Oh!
And
How come
there's
we've never fought
different versions. There are clay golems.
Got to.
There are like iron golems or whatever.
Okay.
And there are flesh golems. Being stitched together of different flesh and brought to life. Literally kind of Frankenstein.
Like Frankenstein.
So when you mentioned wanting to bring up golems, I was like, he's a flesh golem. He's obviously
He is
a
a
flesh
golem.
golem. I've never thought about it before, but he's obviously a flesh golem. The reason why we've never fought them in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
It's okay.
I prefer to use the term construct because it is my understanding that some Jewish gamers don't love the inclusion of the golem as a mindless monster that you fight in dungeons and kill. Especially the clay golem.
The golem's a bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, he's a bro. Yeah. You know? So like people are kind of like,
Yeah, so
like to maybe take it a little bit out of the religion and just call them constructs.
call them a construct or a creation.
Yeah.
A creature.
Especially when it's a flesh construct or a metal construct.
Yeah, it's interesting, kind of like we were talking about, like the reason why these things get created is like the golem is created as like a helper and defender of like in a marginalized group,
Yeah.
created out of respect for life, but also understanding like that humans are not capable of creating life the same way the divine is.
Yeah.
But the creature is created just to stroke Henry's ego.
And yet,
Yeah.
the thing about the golem being created as a protector against existing violence, and thus needing to be violent to protect
to
against
respond to violence. Yeah.
that is what the creature, what we see him do.
what he
Like, it's
does.
not what he was created for, but it's all that he can do, because he immediately is met with violence and has to lash back.
Yeah. I do see some similarities between these characters, because in the end, they are kind of representing entire groups of people that are not necessarily trusted or treated very well by the dominant culture.
Yeah. Yeah. And they are not really the monster that they maybe appear to be at first glance, you know? And yeah, I don't know. It does just sort of bring me back to and have me thinking of like, what is Frankenstein's monster, quote unquote? Do we just call them Frankensteins when we have other versions of them, or is there only one of him, or, you know, like versus Dracula and vampires and things, you know?
Right. And then, of course, you know, there's
is it his own being?
the age-old meme of Frankenstein's monster, or of Frankenstein.
Yes.
No, that's the doctor.
Yeah.
No, that's the monster.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, well, the doctor is the monster.
Yes, yes. All of those jokes that we love.
All
to
those
have.
jokes. But I do think, like, colloquially, like, it is
Just
his
he's a
name is Frankenstein, which is a bummer.
And then the bride is just the bride.
The bride,
of Frankenstein.
which I have a lot of feelings about.
And in Monster High, their child is named Frankie
Frankie.
Stein.
Jew.
Jewish.
That's a Jewish last name.
Non-binary Jewish icon,
Yes.
Frankie Stein.
I love it. I'm so ready to hear about Mad Scientists.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was sort of like that. The idea of the golem has nothing to do with science. It's totally religious, mystic, woo woo, if you will. So that's another difference, because Hank is coming to it as like, no, science.
Science.
Yes.
And I was interested in if Mary Shelley invented the mad scientist trope.
Yeah, I was wondering.
And I think in the novel, I would argue that Victor Frankenstein doesn't necessarily come across as the mad scientist in the way that we imagine a mad scientist today.
Yes.
I think his depiction in this film is a lot closer to the mad scientist trope that we know of now. Because, like, he does have that thing where, like, his focus on his work comes before everything else. He has the God complex, which are all very mad scientists. But he has genuinely, like, pretty good intentions and is very sympathetic and, like, very much is cast as, like, the hero of the story. Or at least as understandable, you know? He's at least understandable, like, where he's coming from. And he has remorse for what he did. And I just feel like the mad scientist
trope,
trope,
he feels real bad about it. But, like, to the extent that he's just, like, incapacitated.
I know.
I'm like, get up and do something.
It's a little bit of a Hamlet thing.
Very.
Where it's like,
oh, poor me.
It's just like, so then what are you going to do about it?
Oh, no, the consequences of my actions.
Yeah. But I just think, like, the mad scientist trope has very much come to be, like, much more of a, like, a villain figure now. And that's definitely not who Victor Frankenstein is. And I don't think it's necessarily who Henry Frankenstein is. I would argue he's a little bit more of it. And the other professor person that we meet in the sequel film, Bride of Frankenstein.
God. Dr. Pretorius.
That is a mad scientist.
I cannot wait to talk about
But I do think it's interesting that in the novel, Shelley makes a point that Frankenstein, Victor, began his study of science specifically by reading these Greek philosopher and alchemist whose, like, scientific theories, even in, like, Victor's time, would have been already debunked.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, he doesn't find out till later. He's like, wait, I've been reading all this shit that's not even true. But it just sort of aligns him less with, like, the, I don't know, enlightened science of the modern world and makes him more of a, like, an alchemist, like old school alchemy shit, which does get a little bit into the woo-woo because it's sort of magical science, you know? In which case, I think
Right.
if Mary Shelley is creating the mad scientist, I think we do, though, have to say that there's a clear predecessor in Dr. Faustus. In
Faust, of course.
Right? We've discussed him before, but he was like a very popular Germanic folk figure, who then became widely known thanks to works by like Christopher Marlowe and Goethe. But the original folklore, it's possibly based on one or maybe two real person, like a real people person, an actual historical Dr. Faust, who shows up in records as, let's see here, he shows up as a magician, a fortune teller, a doctor, a philosopher, an alchemist, a fraud, a devil worshiper, a Protestant, and a sodomite.
Oh.
So, like, you can do it all, people.
Wow.
Yeah. He's, like, getting it everywhere. He supposedly died in an explosion caused by one of his own experiments.
That will happen.
So, I mean, I just feel like that's really giving mad scientist, but it's, like, coming from that alchemy older period. And, like, there are also older stories that are just sort of about the danger of knowledge in general. Like, I don't know what else the story of the forbidden fruit of the Garden of Eden is about, other than the dangers of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? And it's, of course, the first edition of Frankenstein began with the subtitle, The Modern Prometheus, and then a quote from Paradise Lost.
Yes.
Where Adam is lamenting to God. So there's that where the Garden of Eden, that fruit is maybe like an early literary example of a little bit of like fear or skepticism around like how much knowledge humankind should have. And then the story of Prometheus, that's a Greek figure.
Yeah.
Greek mythology. He was a Titan, so like a god before the Olympians. But he took fire from the Olympian gods and gave it to humanity. And in some stories even created humanity. Like Prometheus was a big lover of humanity.
It's also something Maui does.
Yeah. And the fire also is symbolically his way of giving humanity like either technology or knowledge or just like civilization in general. Like that is what fire represents.
Yeah.
And like humanity loved that.
Yeah.
The Olympian gods like Zeus, not a
fan.
big fan, punished Prometheus by chaining him to a rock where an eagle ate out his liver.
Picking out his liver every day.
And then the liver grows back and then the eagle comes back and eats it again. Yeah. So like very much in Mary Shelley's time, Prometheus would have been a symbol of like this lone genius striving to better humanity, but that work could also lead to very great tragedy.
Yeah, that could be
like
bad.
there was this sort of like
stay in your lane, buddy.
Yeah. And there was this a little bit of fear around what science could do in this like, enlightened modern age of like where are we going with science? I'm thinking also of like Newton had this idea. Well, Isaac Newton, very famous scientist guy. I'm pretty sure he was the one, or at least popularized the idea of like using like refracting light to make like using some sort of crystal prism to make a rainbow. Where that means that the rainbow isn't just something that can be created by God. The rainbow can now be created by a human, just holding up a bit of glass
at any time for any reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so like that was scary.
That is scary.
And like in a way, mad science-y.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, is that example all that much different from like putting into a large language model to like write me an essay?
Yeah.
Comparing Frankenstein's monster to the Golem of Prague and just watch it just produce pretty okay writing sometimes. If you put in a good prompt, it'll yeah. And just watching it produce what would take a person hours to do.
But then it's like
scary.
It's scary.
There's something unsettling
and then there's a
about
question
it.
of, is the thing you're creating soulless?
Yeah.
Or
does it have a soul, and what does that mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? I do want to now, because we put a pin on it earlier, go back to what Henry Frankenstein says, which is, now I know what it feels like to be God.
Yes.
This line was apparently so blasphemous that it was cut from early showings of this film.
Yeah. That is why there is that warning at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why
it's like, hey, this is scary and it will unsettle you and it'll make you just feel bad.
That was specifically for like the religious crowd. They're like, it's this, there's that scene and another one. It's like, it's so blasphemous.
Yeah, it was blasphemous.
Yeah, that we need to make sure that the audience knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that God complex
Because
is-
there wasn't ratings yet.
Yes,
Sorry,
so they just
anyway.
had to like, yeah.
What were you
Well,
gonna
I
say?
mean, that's the other thing they cut out was the actual seeing the girl die.
Yeah, they
Get
did cut
pushed
that.
into
Yeah,
the,
got cut out, yeah.
Because, child death.
Yeah.
The child dies in the novel, just saying.
Just saying.
And he is murdered by the creature. But no, I think it's a shame to cut out that line because I think a God complex is such an important part of the mad scientist
Of the mad
archetype.
scientist, absolutely, yes.
I mean, it's kind of like, even going back to Eden and Prometheus, it's about, the mad scientist story is about acquiring knowledge that should only belong to God.
Yes.
Or whatever you think of as God, whatever that means.
A God complex or like a superiority complex.
Yeah, it's about reaching beyond what humankind should have, or thinking of yourself as superior to humankind in some way, which is very powerful and wonderful and like perhaps nearly miraculous if you want to talk in that language. But it also means it's beyond our control. And so like we as mere mortals can't really see the consequences of this knowledge because the knowledge is so beyond us. How can we see what's beyond what is already beyond us? Like it's going to inevitably lead to tragedy because we just don't know we can't control something that beyond, that massive.
Yeah.
And if it was knowledge we were meant to have, then we wouldn't need to like be reaching for it. Maybe
Wouldn't have to work so hard.
Yeah, like maybe it would just be like something we could understand. I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like that's kind of where the mad scientist, like the horror of the mad scientist comes from, and also the tragedy, I guess, is sort of in that distance between science and like miracle, of science trying to create miracle, or if whatever the term would be, not in religious terms, but like something beyond man.
Magic.
Yeah, magic. Yeah. Right, yeah, magic.
Yeah.
That distance there, where it's like magic also in stories always gets out of control and has unforeseen consequences.
Yeah, magic has a cost, yeah.
I did find a lovely article by a woman named Kate Gullum.
Try that again.
Well, I just had to stop for a second because her name has the word golem in it.
No fucking way.
Kate Gollum-Busky.
Whoa.
Yeah. Kate Gollum-Busky.
Right on, Kate.
That's, yeah.
What does she have to say?
It's in Discover Magazine. She talks about the origin of the phrase mad scientist, like where that term's, because I was also thinking about like mad and madness.
Right. It was very British.
Yeah, but also she is talking to like professors, one of whom is a professor named Gail Griffin, who of like literature and stuff, who talks about how the word scientist itself didn't exist until 1833, which would have been after even the second version of Frankenstein was written. So like, and over a decade after the first Frankenstein. So like scientist didn't exist. So like the idea of her creating the mad scientist, obviously she didn't create the term. That term came later, but because before that it was called natural philosophy.
Oh, that tracks. Yeah.
And this professor,
like the natural world, like biology or that makes sense.
Yeah, and Gail Griffin says that like natural philosophy, it was all quote, it was all imbued with theology and philosophical notions.
Yes,
that kind of kept it integrated with the rest of knowledge.
Yeah,
and so like the importance of keeping those disciplines aligned, according to Griffin, is that the humanities give the otherwise what could be kind of unfeeling science, this thing that we're kind of afraid of because it's sort of taking the God out of things, that sort of unfeeling, unmoral thing. It gives it a moral compass by keeping it aligned with the humanities.
Right.
Because science without concern for the human cost is like, terrifying.
It's like the complete opposite now.
Yeah? What do you mean?
I'm just like, we teach STEM and like no ethics.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like we're so concerned. Like I mean, working in education, like it's all about the STEM. Like all anybody ever talks about is like, how can we get more people in STEM, more people in STEM? And I'm like, yeah, but we're also not teaching them humanities or ethics
or like what they're doing with their creations. Yeah. And I think it's notable that like it's both in the novel and in the movie. It's when Frankenstein is cut off from his friends and his family and his fiance,
isolated,
and like focused on his science only, that he gets carried away and creates something that he can't control. Like he like loses sight of what his experiments mean for the rest of humanity. Yeah. But he also kind of loses sight of what it means for just himself as a human. Like he forgets to eat, he forgets to sleep, like he becomes like sickly, like he neglects himself.
Yeah.
So like the danger of science, both in Shelley's novel and in this film, I think comes when genius, like the madness of science and genius comes when it is acting in isolation. Mm-hmm. When you don't have your friends or whoever your moral compass is.
Don't have your checks and balances.
Yeah. When it's in isolation from your morals. Yeah. And of course Shelley was written during, I thought it was interesting because this movie comes out in, 31. It has that line about ultraviolet, which I can only imagine was like new and trendy at the time or something, to just throw an ultraviolet. And like, a light
ton
beyond.
of people didn't know what that meant.
I thought that was very cool. But they also actually used the terms in the movie chemical galvanism and electrobiology.
Whoa.
And I do think she was writing, Mary Shelley was writing during the Industrial Age, when there were a bunch of new and exciting and confusing and frightening scientific discoveries. And galvanism specifically is something she would have been aware of. You don't know what galvanism, and that's okay. I didn't either.
I know that word.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Okay. So there was an 18th century scientist. His name was Luigi Galvani.
Oh, of course.
And he realized through experiments with dead frogs that like electricity could cause inert muscles to like twitch and animate. Like tissue could like move again.
Yeah.
And he thought at the time that this was proof of what he called like animal electricity, quote unquote. Okay. And it's like that there's this specific electricity that causes all animation in living things, causes all things to like be able to move and live.
I mean, okay, yeah.
And so it kind of seems easy to make that jump. Yeah. Like you can see how Shelley, hearing about that, because she does credit a conversations that like Shelley and Byron were having about modern scientific discoveries and stuff. And you can see how she would hear about that and easily make a jump from like, oh, this can like animate dead tissue to like, oh, this could reanimate
a whole person.
And so that's probably why the film uses all of that electricity.
Yeah.
Is a lot more vague in the novel. Like he finds the essence of life or something, and uses it on creation, but we don't hear about
what that means.
Yeah. There's no mention of electricity or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's probable that she had something like this in mind. And I did find it interesting. Galvani's nephew kind of continued his work. His name was Giovanni Aldini. And in 1803, so a little bit before the novel, something that they may have been talking about, this Aldini did a demonstration on the corpse of an executed prisoner from Newgate Prison, which isn't great. But just quoting from Wikipedia, because this is so Frankenstein's monster and it's so very mad science to me.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
This is about this experiment on this executed man. On the first application of the process to the face, so this like electricity thing, the jaws of the deceased criminal began to quiver and the adjoining muscles were horribly contorted and one eye was actually opened. In the subsequent part of the process, the right hand was raised and clenched and the legs and thighs were set in motion. Like it's very similar actually to how like Frankenstein's creature is sort of like brought to life. He like we get the hand clenching and things and eyes opening. Yes. Like it's very mad sciencey. And specifically, Shelley's husband, Percy, we've mentioned him a few times, he probably would have introduced her to one of his teachers, James Lind, who was this other English scientist who also conducted experiments around galvanism and electricity.
Wow.
So, like, this clearly would have been in her realm.
Yeah.
Like, this would have been something. But I think if we have anybody, like, obviously... So I don't know. It's a little more complicated to say if Mary Shelley created, I guess, the mad scientist trope. I don't think Frankenstein necessarily like fits that because I don't think he has the same villainous qualities to him. But I would say watching this movie and especially the sequel, you can see how that's becoming that.
Yeah.
And I also just want to say though, Percy Shelley, even if he didn't do any of the writing, he was so clearly an influence. Yeah. Like he's so clearly an inspiration for Victor Frankenstein. That Victor was even like a pseudonym he used when he was a kid.
Okay.
He like loved the name Victor. He was like wild about victory and stuff.
Okay.
And he was a bit of a mad scientist, I think. Like in a lot of ways, like he apparently used to just kind of play with electricity, like when he was young, to the point where he would shock his sisters and like even one of his professors. So like,
don't love that.
He was bullied a lot in school, but would respond rather aggressively. And he was known at school by the nickname Mad Shelley. They just called him Mad Shelley. And much like Frankenstein, when he was at school, he would spend less time in lectures and more time conducting experiments alone in his room. And so, like, as far as we know, he didn't try to reanimate any corpses, but he did have an interest in the occult and stuff. Yeah. And he was trying to raise spirits of the dead.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also something that...
Is he into spiritualism?
Yeah, it was something also that Victor Frankenstein sort of thinks about and considers for a little bit in the novel. He... I don't know how relevant this is, but it feels relevant to me that Percy Shelley also on several occasions tells people that he has been like attacked by strangers, or that people are attacking him or out to get him, which seems likely that these were either like hallucinations or like psychotic episodes of some sort.
Paranoia, yeah.
Which is just kind of interesting to me in terms of then his wife writing the story of this mad scientist who is very insistent that he's not mad and also is getting stalked by this thing that means aggressive, like has aggressive feelings for him. I just think that's, I don't know. That's just interesting to me. So I do think, so yes, I think people say that Mary Shelley kind of invented the mad scientist. I think there are, caveats on that.
A couple asterisks.
In the same way we said where it's like she invented sci-fi. Other people could make other arguments, I think. But like she definitely, it's hard to say that she didn't significantly influence the shape of both sci-fi and the mad scientist trope.
Mad scientist.
And even if it wasn't her in her original work, the way that Frankenstein later gets betrayed is definitely where the mad scientist comes from,
Yeah.
Like there are others that come, I really couldn't find anything that mad scientist-y before, other than these other examples of like knowledge being maybe scary or like deals with devils for knowledge, things like that, but nothing like that. And like alchemy in general being associated with like black magic, but like pure science madness. Mm-hmm. That was really coming in Mary Shelley's age with like, in the industrial age and stuff, when science was getting really scary, separated from God.
Yeah.
That it became that mad scientist villainous thing. Mm-hmm. So it really is kind of where it started. And you have other mad scientists around the same time.
So much.
Yeah. Dr. Moreau's Island, is that his name?
The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, the Island of Dr. Moreau. I knew I didn't say it right. Yeah.
Or the
that would have been a little bit later.
The Island of Lost Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, clearly mad scientist.
Yes,
he would have came after Victor Frankenstein, but not much.
That's true, yeah, because it was an H.G. Wells book first.
Yeah.
And then it is also Dr. Moreau is one of the very first early film depictions of a mad scientist.
Okay, this is what I want to hear about.
Yes.
Like, this is sort of like where the what I just said, my literary corner. Did you even lead me
I
in
don't
with
think
this
I
song?
did. You just went,
I just
man.
went.
Yeah.
Well, sing me out.
Okay. That was Literary Corner.
Yeah, I'm laying the foundation for you.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
This is like kind of where the mad scientist came from.
Yeah.
But clearly it has not reached its
final form.
No. And you're going to tell us some more about what the mad scientist becomes.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So I'm using mainly this one article from Atlas Obscura by the author is Pat Castles. And it's from August of 2024, so it's a couple of years old, but I mean like a year and a half, this is fine. And what's funny is I actually really love this article and really appreciates there's a lot of great information about what's called the metamorphosis of the mad scientist. And it's like this great timeline of the mad scientist in cinema. But it starts with the 2024 Oscars because Oppenheimer and that movie Poor Things both won Oscars. Mad scientist movies.
And Poor Things is kind of a Frankenstein
ripoff. Yeah, basically.
Not ripoff, homage.
Yeah.
The stylings of.
So, it's interesting to think about, sci-fi. We've talked about where sci-fi meets horror a couple of times already.
Yeah.
Alien, The Thing, and that does happen in this one. It's just really interesting because I just kind of have this is a great article, but I just do still have a couple of notes for Pat because Pat seems to be coming for horror fans specifically. And I just don't think that we need to be catching that smoke. So it's like a look at America's horror's most iconic mad scientist reveals a surprisingly volatile relationship between horror and academia in the United States. Not surprising at all.
Yeah.
It's a relationship that endures to modern day. We may be living in an age of reason, but horror fans aren't motivated by reason. And I'm like, no human is motivated by reason.
Yeah.
Don't put this. And then there's a little stinger says, after all, what reasonable person would pay money to willingly scare the crap out of themselves for fun?
A lot of
people do that.
A lot of psychological. Yeah.
What's reasonable?
I mean, why do people pay money to go watch tragedies where they can cry a lot?
Yeah.
It's cathartic.
Yeah. So I don't really appreciate...
Talk to the fucking Greek tragedians.
I don't appreciate how much
that energy he's bringing
put on to the genre.
Yeah.
But they're correct. There is a pretty volatile relationship between just popular culture and academia, and horror is, part of our popular culture.
Yeah.
But it's not just horror. Like, horror is just like the mirror.
Yeah.
That like is held up to popular culture.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's one of the mirrors. Anyway,
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think. A lot of adventure things also have like weird contentious relationships with academics and
So, especially in like that early era of film, horror is the genre that unleashes the idea of the mad scientist onto the world.
Yeah.
And so there's a quote. It's really weird in the article. I don't know who the quote is attributed to, but the quote says, "Today, many of the things that would have seemed like horror story fodder are scientific reality." Which is true. But still, as the boundaries of human knowledge are continually pushed, the trope of the mad scientist endures. And so it just hasn't even just endured. Like it evolved. Like it's evolved, right? So in like very early days of film, we do get some pretty like iconic depictions of the mad scientist. The earliest one that I was able to find is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Oh, yeah.
In 1920. And then there's also a movie called The Metropolis in 1927.
Oh, The Metropolis.
And it's The Metropolis, that movie specifically, that particularly brings that, like, I think we've all been thinking it, like, close your eyes, and when I say mad scientist, like, what visual pops into your brain? Yeah. That visual, like, comes from Metropolis.
And Einstein.
And also Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like the visual of like the mad scientist in his lab with like weird things bubbling and like the weird electricity like going up the thing, that is like from the mad scientist's name is Rotwang.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Rotwang. That's like his thing. And then like
aesthetic.
Other movies like use that. So it's kind of, very influential in our understanding of what a mad scientist looks like. Mm-hmm. And it's also worth noting, kind of that idea of like removing God from science is that like the Scopes monkey trial took place in 1925. That is an important thing to remember. So we're kind of getting this, it's coming into the popular culture of like, how do we address the fact that there is mounting scientific evidence that the world is much older than 6,000 years. There's all of this evidence, science to suggest that humans have evolved, and like, how do we, deal with that and our religion, religious beliefs. So,
which we tie up with our morals.
Exactly. Yes. So mad scientists, like the early mad scientists, are motivated by their scientific discovery, of course, yes, but they are also very much like looking to harness the power of God.
Yeah.
Right. So Hank Frank is a great one. He's like has the hubris of creating life with his own hands.
And I think if there isn't some sort of like selfish or like outwardly destructive motivation, then he's not a mad scientist. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like that's necessary. Otherwise, he's just a scientist who's kind of kooky.
Yeah. Let him be
I mean, because it's like, I don't know. It was wild when Galileo said that the sun didn't rotate around the earth or whatever.
But he was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we all thought he was crazy.
But he was right.
He got imprisoned for a long time.
That's true, yeah.
But like, I wouldn't call him a mad scientist.
No.
He was just, coming up with things that other people weren't ready to accept yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And so because Hank Frank, he has the hubris of creating life with his own hands, this is why the studio put that warning before, like to not, offend any religious viewers.
Yeah.
The original Invisible Man.
Oh, yeah.
Has like, so what's really interesting is that he's technically sane, and he invents an invisibility serum.
Yes.
And it's kind of hard to tell whether it is the serum that drives him insane, or if the fact that he no longer has to look himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And like his invisibility itself that drives him insane. It's hard to tell.
Well, and that's the other thing that I didn't mention but could have. Another one that came out shortly after Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Where once again we have that sort of, he's not a crazy quote unquote person, Dr. Jekyll. He's just a scientist, but he creates a thing that makes him have this alter ego that is violent and mad.
Yeah. Well, so the very first like film version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is like 1917.
Oh, damn.
It's not a full like feature length film. It's kind of more like a short, but but
still.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And then this is also where like Dr. Moreau lives as well. Like he wants to. He just wants to be able, like, it's just an ego stroke again.
He just wants to experiment on animals and shit.
Well, he wants to make humans into animals.
Right,
It's dumb.
It's stupid.
And so like in those early days of cinema, 30s and 20s, 30s, 40s, like we do get these like mad scientists who are like, their desire for discovery is out of hand.
It's selfish, it's hubristic,
and those people themselves are dangerous. It's worth noting that of the Universal monsters, the Invisible Man has the highest body count.
Damn.
By like a lot.
Ooh.
Because in the movie he derails a train.
Damn.
Yeah, he takes out a whole train.
That's one of those things you're expressly not supposed to do according to philosophy.
Derail a train. Yes. So then as we move into the 50s and 60s, obviously the horror movies are like shifting towards portraying like Cold War and nuclear anxieties.
Yeah.
Right? That's Night of the Living Dead, Invasions of the Body Snatchers, The Blob.
Yeah.
The original 1954 Japanese Godzilla.
Yep.
Was like meant to be like this reminder of the destruction humans are capable of.
Yeah.
But
there's a consequence to all of our scientific discoveries.
Yes. But the US distributors actually like edited out the scenes that were more like explicit allusions to Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
God.
And then, so actually what we get in the 50s and 60s, at least in U.S. movies, is the scientist, if they're an American scientist, they become cool and sexy.
Yeah.
And like the only hope against the threat. So like Dr. David Reed in The Creature from the Black Lagoon is a great example. Like
he's like the hero now.
Only one who can be, he's the ichthyologist.
Yeah.
So he's
going to
the
save the
one
world.
who will save and he's like, he's sexy and he doesn't wear a shirt a lot and like he gets the girl. And so the US scientists become cool and sexy and our only hope. And then foreign scientists become like, destroy us all, obviously.
Yeah. That feels very James Bond too. I mean, he's not the scientist, but like James Bond.
The way just the way those movies are formulaic
they have a lot
in that
of
way.
Evil scientists and stuff that need to be taken down.
Yeah. It's also worth noting historical context. In 1965, Lyndon Johnson passes the Higher Education Act, which makes college and academia more accessible to the young baby boomers. And so throughout the 60s and 70s, the mad scientist starts to lose its gravitas because more Americans are engaging in scientific study.
It's not this big mysterious thing anymore.
It's just like, oh yeah, DNA. Okay. Yeah. Like it's actually a little bit boring.
Yeah.
sometimes. And so scientific study is becoming more of just part of Americans' lives.
Yeah.
And then of course we also have, the civil rights movement happening at the same time. And so there's just kind of a broader, like not the entire culture, but a lot of culture is moving away from the fear of progress and fear of scientific progress specifically.
Yeah.
So it's worth noting that the two most famous mad scientists in film in the 1970s, at least in America, is Gene Wilder in Young Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
And Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh. So both Frankenstein stories.
Very Frankenstein stories and also satires, right?
Yeah.
Comedies for sure.
Yeah. Though some people have brought up, when I was looking into mad scientists, Willy Wonka as a mad scientist.
Oh, very.
And I'm like, oh, he is.
Gene Wilder, just as a person, was giving mad scientist
energy.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a great
love
point.
that
Yeah,
for
food
him.
science is real. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and the shit he was doing in there.
It was crazy.
Fucking crazy.
It's scary. Yeah. So in through the 1970s, mad scientists become like funny.
Yeah. Well, because this is also like the space race coming after that, right? So it's like, yay, we love our scientists.
Yay, science. Exactly. If they're
we
American
got on
scientists.
The moon.
And at this point, audiences are more effectively scared by Halloween. It comes out in 1978.
Oh, yeah.
And
We get the slashers.
The proto slashers. Like that is what is scaring audiences now.
Yeah.
It's not mad scientists. And then, of course, in the 80s, we get Reagan era capitalism.
Yeah.
And then mad scientists get a really interesting little upgrade. They also become capitalists.
Yeah.
So thinking about, you haven't seen Aliens.
No, not in a long time.
Not to spoil Aliens, because you should see it. It's a great movie. I know you've seen it, but like you got to watch
I saw
it
it when
again.
I was a kid,
As an adult, you got to watch it again. It's so good.
Yeah.
But that exists in Aliens. The Fly, both movies that came out in 1986, by the way.
Yeah.
The Fly with Jeffrey Goldblum.
Yep.
And so like this guy, Dr. Grendel, his research is being funded by a large and shadowy corporation. Yes, it's very interesting. And then, but also I did want to make note that two more like sort of classic mad scientist movies come out of the 1980s. Reanimator comes out in 1985.
Yeah.
Classic mad scientist. And the Hellraiser 2 in 1988
does that have a mad scientist?
pretty straightforward mad scientist, mad doctor, like actual medical.
I mean, I've never seen any of the Hellraisers, but I thought they were all hellish stuff.
They're not good. They're fine. They're classics, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and then
when are you going to get to my favorite mad scientist story?
which is what?
Jurassic Park.
Oh shit! I actually wasn't gonna mention Jurassic Park, but I forgot. Actually, meant to mention after the passing of the Higher Education Act, we can't forget about Jaws in 1975.
Yeah,
scientists become cool.
Right,
like they're
that's
cool,
a cool
right?
one.
Yeah,
That's a
they're
cool
cool
one.
scientists.
Well, that's the thing with Jurassic Park. I think that covers a lot of the things you said because we have the capitalist element coming in. We have these scientists who were so busy wondering if they didn't stop to think whether they should.
Yes.
We have Jeff Goldblum being a sexy scientist.
Sexy, yes.
And
also what
scientists are both the hero and the villain of that story.
Absolutely. And so what also happens in the 80s is like the mad scientists become capitalists, yes, but they also become fame seeking.
Oh.
They're no longer like in their little, their own little laboratories, like doing their experiments for their own satisfaction. They're like inviting press. They're like, come see like what I'm creating. Come like, look at me.
Honestly, more true to the original, a lot of the scientific experiments and stuff that were going on in Mary Shelley's time, where like there would be huge exhibitions of these things and people would come watch and people would watch surgeries.
Yeah. Stand back. I'm about to attempt science.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what happens in the 80s. And then in the 90s, which is when Jurassic Park comes out. So this is the weird thing about the 90s. It might feel weird to us and like to remember it this way, but in the 1990s there was actually a lot of optimism about technology. Before the .com bubble burst in 2000, like
no, we love technology.
We love technology, and like
I mean, we got afraid of Y2K, but before that,
we were like so excited about like how technology could make our lives better. Again,
would open us up to the rest of the world in new ways.
And like make everything easier, faster,
make us more connected.
Greater well-being. The whole thing.
And boy, it coulda.
Boy, I guess. I don't know. Just humans are in charge of the internet, so I don't know. Anyway. So we don't really get a lot of mad scientists in the 90s because science is like, science and technology. We're very much in the what can we do? And not maybe really thinking about what we should do.
When does the first Terminator come out?
In the 80s.
80s?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was still back in then. Because I was just wondering
like
when we
time travel story.
Yeah, I know, but I was wondering when we started to get the stories of people creating robots that then get too powerful and kill us.
Well, that's actually what Metropolis is about.
Oh, okay.
This
so
scientists trying to make a giant robot.
Okay. Yeah. So from way back.
Way back,
and because that's what I feel like in our modern day is a very prescient fear because of the AI of it all.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's a current occupation on our mind.
Right. So like I was saying, which comes in when we get into the 21st century. Absolutely comes up in our mad scientists in horror movies. But there's like one kind of notable mad scientist movie in the 1990s, Flatliners. It's like got a star-studded cast. It's got Julia Roberts, it's got Kiefer Sutherland, it's got Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And it's like this group of sexy young Gen X medical students, and they're experimenting with like clinically killing and reviving each other.
Oh.
Sort of like they're looking into like the afterlife.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into that.
Yeah.
I did just have to look up when Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out because I'm like, that's a mad scientist movie.
The 80s.
89.
89, yeah. But it's a funny one.
Yeah.
It's a funny
It's
mad
more
scientist.
in that, that vein.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think of the mad scientists that we grew up with. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I'm thinking of Robin Williams and Flubber.
Oh, Flubber.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a mad scientist we grew up with. They're all kind of cute and funny. Or like Terminator, which
Terminator. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't really think of other mad scientists we grew up with. You're right. I guess the 90s wasn't a big era for mad scientists.
No, they were fun.
They were fun.
Robin Williams, yeah.
Yeah. You're right. They were fun and Robin Williams.
So in the 21st century,
Yeah.
this is when, I don't know how else to say it, but tech CEOs become the mad scientists. Which is correct, yes.
They're the villain of so many
They
stories,
are, yeah. So,
I'm talking about movies, not real life.
no. So, especially like in our current age of like tech CEOs, especially like thinking about what I was saying earlier about Henry being the one who has the most responsibility here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that like now come the 21st century, like our greatest scientific threats are like selfish and politically motivated like whims of the creator.
Yeah.
And similar to this idea of Frankenstein, like one person gets too damn big for his britches.
Yeah.
And it becomes everybody else's problem.
Right.
Right. And like Frankenstein, you know, there's the allegories of like desiring proximity to power, right? And using kind of the guise of science to continue to marginalize certain groups.
And to just continue to play God.
And just to be God, to play God, right?
I'm in control of this technology.
No.
Yeah. Well, and also I think we get some of the villains who are like weapon manufacturer companies too. We start to get those like I don't know, Iron Man. That would be a little bit later. But Iron Man movies, like the villains are especially weapon manufacturers.
That's true. Oh yeah, and like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even like think about getting into like the Marvel universe that starts to come out around this time.
Kurt Connors.
Yeah.
Dr. Octopus.
Keep going. One more. Come on, one more.
Morbius.
Duh,
Morbius.
But of course I only looked at horror movies. So a really interesting like take on the mad scientist in the 21st century is Ex Machina.
Yeah.
From 2014.
Which I've also never seen, which is weird because I love Oscar Isaac.
It's good. It's a tough watch.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I know. It just didn't really seem like my thing.
Because it's about a tech billionaire whose name is Nathan Bateman, by the way.
That's bad.
Which I can't help but feel has to be a reference to Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's working. He's
It also just has bad mouthfeel. Nathan Bateman.
Yeah. So he's in his like. He's very much like secluded on his own little island. This is the other
problem.
thing.
Seclusion is bad. Scientists cannot be alone.
And billionaires can afford islands.
Yes.
So like he's on his own island, his fancy
just
house.
Like
he's all by himself.
Hinky Frank is rich enough to just have an old tower to himself, just a whole fucking tower.
Just him and Fritz, you know. So he's making AI like human like robots.
Yeah.
But he only makes female robots. And so it's very well understood that his scientific motivation is the ability to control women.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of what Hank is doing. Like, there is sort of something like, let's get women out of the process of creating life.
Yeah.
Even though he actually can't do that because he's just using dead body parts of humans that have already existed that were given birth to.
Yeah.
By women. So it kind of falls apart. But
as
that's
everything
what
he does falls apart.
Think about it for 2 seconds. So yeah.
It's almost like he should have bounced his ideas off of literally anybody before anybody other than Fritz.
Yeah. So he's a great mad scientist. And then of course, it's worth noting that in Get Out,
Yes.
Bradley Whitford and Catherine
I've always
Keener's
said Mad
characters
Scientist movie.
are both doctors.
I've always said it's a mad scientist movie.
Yes, I believe
I've always
Bradley
said it.
Whitford's character is a surgeon, right?
Yeah.
And
she's some sort of
she's
psychologist.
a psychologist. Yeah. She's a psychologist. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely a mad scientist movie. I'm always saying it.
And then what they're using their scientific knowledge for is to hijack the brains of black people to replace them with the brains of white people.
Yeah. So they can be young and hip.
So like in these two movies, mad scientists are either replacing women or replacing blac people.
Yeah. Some of whom are women.
Some of whom happen to be women.
Yeah.
So very mad science-y. And then I do want to mention one other thing.
Yeah. So like basically make the world all white dudes who are the scientist smart people in control of everything.
Yeah.
And people under their control.
Right. Because does that come up more in the second one where Dr. Pretorius is like, we could create like a race?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that next time. We'll talk about that next movie. Anyway.
But yes, that is a thing. And it's a little bit of a thing that he thinks about in the novel.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll talk about that then. I just want to make one more reference.
But
So
that's definitely a thing.
It's also one other thing is that in 2020, before the pandemic, early 2020, there's a remake of The Invisible Man comes out starring Kate Moss. Kate Moss? Elizabeth Moss. Kate Moss is a model.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss. And so it, I think, does a really great 21st century sort of twist on the story.
Because it focuses on the wife of the Invisible Man.
This woman, yeah. So, because again, I already told you, in the original 1933 Invisible Man, which was, I think, Claude Rains' like first American movie. And like, I love Claude Rains. Like, I love Casablanca.
Yeah.
Invisible Man is great. Like, I love Claude Rains. Anytime I get to see him, I'm happy. Yeah. He goes insane either because of his invisibility or the serum or whatever.
Yeah.
But in The Invisible Man in 2020, the Invisible Man, whose name I don't know and I didn't actually look into it, is already like an abusive husband. And also like a wealthy engineer, right?
Yeah.
So, he is kind of, a little bit mad science-y and is already an abusive husband. And what he does is spoilers everyone, he fakes his death and uses an invisibility suit that he has created, like a suit to kind of refract light, to become invisible, to further like torture and abuse her.
Yeah.
And of course, no one believes her.
Oh.
Yeah. And then
that's a perfect version of it.
But yeah, that's perfect. That's the 21st century Invisible Man. Like that's a mad scientist abusing his power to make everybody else's life more difficult.
Yeah.
Or with very little regard for the impact on everybody else.
Yeah.
And then the Atlas Obscura article ends with this question, which I think is a stupid question, which is, does science drive men mad, or do mad men use science to weaponize their worst impulses? It's the second one.
Yeah.
It's the second one for sure, you guys.
Yeah.
We don't...
Have you... Yeah.
I have a lot of deep thoughts, but this isn't one of them.
No, that's a very
It's the
easy
second
thought.
one. Yeah.
There are many great scientists who've done many good things for the world, and maybe we're just people in certain ways, because we're all just people, but...
So tech CEOs are the new mad scientists.
Yeah. And I also think, I don't know if this is intentionally... I can't remember why we decided we wanted to do Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. I was ready to talk about Mind Scientist.
Yeah, I think we wanted to have that conversation.
But of course, Frankenstein is also kind of having a bit of a moment.
The
Bride came out.
Still haven't seen it.
No.
Yeah.
There's the Frankenstein that Guillermo del Toro just
still
made.
haven't seen it. I think it won an Oscar. Still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I did for like makeup and
awesome.
costuming.
Yeah, I definitely want to
Not
see
one of
it.
the big ones, but it got
But
one.
it's also over 2 hours, and so like...
I know.
So,
who has the time?
So like this Frankenstein was an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there still hasn't been... I haven't seen The Bride, nor have I seen this new version of Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. But is Henry Clerval in any of them? I need to know.
Should I Google it?
No, I don't need to actually know this, but he's an important character to me in the novel, and he just does not show up in a major way in other versions of Frankenstein, and I don't like that. But anyway... You know the story I'm waiting for somebody to tell when I was rereading the novel? Okay, so... Frankenstein creates a monster in his mind, gets scared of it, runs away. The monster tries to be a good person, kind of fucks up, as we all do. You know, learns, changes, evolves, makes mistakes, gets mad at his dad, and then kills the younger brother of Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fully kills a child. Not
okay.
great. Not great.
Not great.
Not his best move. Yeah, he felt pushed to it, but yeah, not his best move. Not his best move. And then from there goes about methodically, kind of like, well, he talks to Frankenstein and he's like, hey, I will totally go away from the world if you create me a lady monster.
Yes. Yep.
All I want is companionship. I hate
Companionship.
being alone. Being in solitude is fucking torture. Literally. So, and you know this.
Because
So-
human beings are supposed to connect.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, friendship is a big theme of the novel.
Yeah.
And Frankenstein is going to do it, and then he decides not to do it. So then the creature kills his best friend and his wife the night that they were married.
Oh, okay.
And then his dad dies of grief. His mom already died when they were
Was
kids.
already dead. Yeah.
And then later, Frankenstein goes off into the wilderness to try to track down his monster and ends up dying. The monster goes off and kills itself, supposedly. There is another brother.
Another Frankenstein?
There is a middle brother
Oh, the middle
who
child!
is just left alive. And I'm like, where is that story?
Where's,
That is the story I want to hear.
where's the middle Frankenstein?
I want to say his name is Edward Frankenstein
Sure.
or Edwin or something like that.
Sure.
And like, I want his story. What was that have been like? I don't think he ever even learned the creature existed.
No.
It was just like his mom died, his little brother died, his sister-in-law, who was like his sister growing up, basically died, practically raised him.
Yeah.
His other brother died. His dad died.
And
like,
he just has no
like,
idea why.
He's like, and I'm 14. Yeah.
You get to be Baron now, I guess. Is
Yeah.
his father Baron in the book? I don't remember.
something-
He's got a title.
He's a syndic. I don't know what that is, but he's a syndic.
Okay.
I'm sure that's important to Genevieveans.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This has been Deep Thought Shallow Plots.
Join us next month.
We're going to keep it going.
Yeah, in the lovely month of May, we'll be covering The Bride of Frankenstein.
May, it's a wonderful month for a wedding.
It's true. As always, thanks to Sound Guy Matt. Follow us on Instagram at Deep Thought Shallow Plots.
Listen to us on all your favorite podcatchers, including the YouTube.
Including the YouTubes. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Leave a comment.
Sometimes we post stuff on Instagram.
Sometimes.
I could post my Halloween picture of me as Frankie Stein from Monster High.
Yes.
I'll do that.
That's what we'll do. And as always, until next time, a son to the House of Frankenstein.